Right now, at this very moment, you're carrying something that was never meant to be yours to carry. You're holding on to worries, fears, anxieties, and problems that are weighing you down, making each step harder than it needs to be. And here's what I want you to understand today. You don't have to carry any of it. Not one single bit of it. There's a force in this universe, a power greater than anything you can comprehend with your logical mind, and it's waiting for you to simply let go and allow it to work miracles in your life. You see, most of us have been taught to rely entirely on ourselves. We've been conditioned to believe that if we don't worry about something, it won't get done. If we don't stress about our problems, they won't get solved. If we don't control every aspect of our lives, everything will fall apart. But this is the biggest lie we've ever been told. This belief is the source of all your suffering, all your pain, all your sleepless nights. And today, I'm here to tell you that there's another way. There's a better way. There's a way that brings peace, joy, and miracles into your life without all that struggle. When you give it to God, when you truly surrender your worries and your problems to this infinite intelligence, you're not giving up. You're not being lazy. You're not avoiding responsibility. What you're doing is aligning yourself with the most powerful force in the universe. You're stepping out of your own way. You're removing the biggest obstacle to your success, which is your ego's insistence that you have to figure everything out on your own. Think about this for a moment. The same power that creates galaxies, that makes flowers bloom, that keeps your heart beating without you having to think about it, that power is available to you right now. It's not somewhere far away. It's not reserved for special people. It's right here, right now, within you and around you. And all it asks of you is that you trust it. All it requires is that you stop trying to force things to happen and instead allow them to unfold naturally. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but I have real problems. I have bills to pay. I have responsibilities. I can't just sit around and do nothing. And you're absolutely right. I'm not telling you to do nothing. I'm telling you to do everything differently. I'm telling you to act from a place of peace instead of panic. I'm telling you to move forward with faith instead of fear. I'm telling you to trust that when you do your part and then let go of the outcome, miracles happen. Here's the secret that changed my life and has changed the lives of millions of people. Worry is absolutely useless. It doesn't solve a single problem. It doesn't prevent anything bad from happening. It doesn't make you more prepared. All worry does is steal your joy, drain your energy, and block the very solutions you're looking for. Worry is like sitting in a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. When you worry, you're essentially saying to the universe, I don't trust you. I don't believe you can handle this. I have to figure this out on my own. And when you send out that energy of distrust and fear, you block the flow of miracles. You close the door to possibilities. You disconnect yourself from the source of all solutions. But when you give it to God, when you say, I trust that this will work out for my highest good, you open yourself up to receive help in ways you could never have planned or predicted. Let me tell you something that most people don't understand. The universe is not neutral. It's not indifferent to you. There's an organizing intelligence that wants you to succeed, that wants you to be happy, that wants you to live your best life. But it can't help you if you're constantly pushing against it with your worry and your need to control. It's like trying to swim upstream. You exhaust yourself, you make no progress, and you miss all the beauty around you. I've seen this play out thousands of times. Someone has a problem that seems impossible to solve. They've tried everything. They've worried themselves sick. They've lost sleep. They've made themselves miserable. And then, finally, when they're at the end of their rope, they surrender. They say, okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm giving this to you, God. I trust you to handle this. And within days, sometimes within hours, a solution appears. A door opens. A person shows up. An opportunity presents itself. Something shifts. And what seemed impossible becomes not only possible, but easy. This isn't magic. This isn't wishful thinking. This is how the universe actually works. When you align yourself with the creative power of the universe, when you stop resisting and start allowing, you become a channel for miracles. You become available to receive guidance, inspiration, and help from sources you never expected. You tap into a wisdom that's far greater than your logical mind could ever access. Now, I want to address something important here. Giving it to God doesn't mean you become passive. It doesn't mean you sit on your couch eating potato chips waiting for a check to appear in your mailbox. What it means is that you take inspired action rather than desperate action. You move forward with confidence rather than anxiety. You do what needs to be done, but you do it from a place of trust rather than fear. There's a huge difference between these two approaches. When you act from fear, you're operating from your ego. Your ego tells you that you have to push, force, manipulate, and control. Your ego tells you that if you don't worry, something terrible will happen. Your ego keeps you stuck in struggle because struggle is what it knows. But when you act from trust, you're operating from your higher self. Your higher self knows that you're supported. Your higher self knows that everything is working out. Your higher self guides you toward the right actions at the right time. Think about the best moments in your life. Think about the times when things just flowed. When the right person showed up at the right time, when an opportunity came out of nowhere, when a problem solved itself. What was your state of mind during those times? I'll bet you weren't worrying. I'll bet you weren't stressing. I'll bet you were in a state of relative peace, maybe even joy. That's because when you're in that state, you're aligned with the creative power of the universe. You're in the flow. And here's what's really beautiful about this. The more you practice giving your worries to God, the easier it becomes. The first time you do it, your ego will fight you. It'll tell you that you're being irresponsible. It'll try to pull you back into worry. But if you persist, if you keep choosing trust over fear, something remarkable happens. You start to see evidence that this works. You start to notice that when you let go, things work out. And as you accumulate more and more evidence, your faith grows stronger. Faith isn't something you're born with or without. Faith is something you develop through practice. It's like a muscle that gets stronger the more you use it. Every time you give a worry to God and then witness how it gets resolved, your faith muscle grows. Every time you trust instead of panic and then see a positive outcome, you're training yourself to trust more easily the next time. Let me share something with you that's absolutely crucial to understand. The worry you're holding on to right now is not protecting you from anything. It's not making you safer. It's not making you smarter. It's not making you more prepared. All it's doing is making you miserable. And here's the really important part. Your misery is not required for things to work out. In fact, your misery is getting in the way of things working out. You don't have to suffer to earn good outcomes. You don't have to prove your worthiness through stress and struggle. You don't have to pay your dues with anxiety and fear. These are all lies we've been told, beliefs that have been passed down through generations. The truth is that you're worthy of miracles right now, exactly as you are. You're worthy of ease. You're worthy of grace. You're worthy of having things work out better than you could have planned. When you truly understand this, when you really get it in your bones, everything changes. You stop being at war with life. You stop fighting against what is. You stop trying to force outcomes. Instead, you start to flow with life. You start to trust the process. You start to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than threats to your survival. And this is when the impossible becomes possible. This is when miracles start showing up in your life. Not because you've done something special, but because you've stopped blocking them. You've stopped standing in your own way. You've stopped letting your ego run the show. You've surrendered to something greater than yourself. And in that surrender, you've found true power. I want you to think about water for a moment. Water is soft, yielding, flexible. It doesn't try to force its way through obstacles. It simply flows around them. And yet, over time, water carves through rock. Water shapes mountains. Water is one of the most powerful forces on earth, precisely because it doesn't resist. It doesn't fight. It simply flows. This is the power of surrender. This is the power of giving it to God. You become like water. You stop forcing. You stop pushing. You stop struggling. And in that state of flow, you become unstoppable. Not because you're using force, but because you're aligned with the natural order of the universe. Now, I know some of you are thinking about specific problems in your life right now. Maybe you're worried about money. Maybe you're concerned about a relationship. Maybe you're dealing with health issues. Maybe you're facing a challenge at work. Whatever it is, I want you to understand something. The same principle applies to all of it. Every single problem, every worry, every fear can be given to God. When you worry about money, you're telling the universe that you believe in scarcity. You're affirming that there's not enough. you're focusing on lack, and what you focus on expands. But when you give your money worries to God, when you trust that you'll be provided for, you open yourself up to receive abundance. You start to notice opportunities you were blind to before. Ideas come to you. People appear who can help you. Doors open that were previously closed. When you worry about relationships, you're coming from a place of fear and insecurity. You're trying to control another person's behavior. You're clinging and grasping, and this energy pushes people away. But when you give your relationship concerns to God, when you trust that you're worthy of love and that the right people will be in your life, everything shifts. You stop being needy. You start being more authentic. You attract people who are aligned with your true self. When you worry about your health, you're putting all your attention on what's wrong. You're reinforcing the illness with your focus. You're stressing your body with fear, which actually weakens your immune system. But when you give your health concerns to God, when you trust in your body's natural healing ability, when you focus on wellness rather than illness, you activate your body's innate intelligence. You support your healing rather than hindering it. Do you see the pattern here? In every area of your life, worry makes things worse, and trust makes things better. It's really that simple. And yet, so many of us have been conditioned to do the exact opposite. We've been taught to worry, to stress, to analyze, to figure everything out with our logical minds. But the logical mind is limited. It can only work with information it already has. It can only see possibilities based on past experience. The creative intelligence of the universe has no such limitations. It can create solutions you've never thought of. It can open doors that don't even exist yet. It can orchestrate events in ways that seem miraculous, but only if you get out of the way. Only if you stop trying to control how things happen and instead trust that they will happen in the perfect way at the perfect time. Here's another thing I want you to understand. When you give it to God, you're not alone anymore. You're not carrying the burden by yourself. You have the entire universe supporting you. You have an infinite intelligence guiding you. You have a power working on your behalf that never sleeps, never gets tired, never gives up. This power is working for you right now, even as you read these words. It's arranging circumstances. It's aligning events. It's bringing together the people, resources, and opportunities you need. But here's what stops most people from experiencing this support. They keep taking the burden back. They give it to God, and then 10 minutes later, they're worrying about it again. They surrender, and then they immediately try to control again. It's like trying to float in water, but constantly tensing up and thrashing around. You can't float if you're fighting. You can't receive help if you're insisting on doing everything yourself. This is why developing a practice of surrender is so important. It's not a one-time thing. It's a daily practice, a moment-to-moment practice. Every time you notice yourself worrying, you pause. You take a breath. You consciously give that worry to God. You say, I release this. I trust you to handle this. I know it's being taken care of. And then you redirect your attention to something that brings you peace or joy. At first, you might have to do this 50 times a day. Your mind is trained to worry. It's a habit. But habits can be changed. Every time you choose trust over worry, you're creating a new neural pathway in your brain. You're literally rewiring yourself. And over time, trust becomes your default state. Peace becomes your natural condition. And this is when you're living in the miraculous. Living in the miraculous doesn't mean that challenges disappear. It means you handle challenges differently. It means you face difficulties with peace instead of panic. It means you trust that even the hard things are working for your highest good. It means you see every experience as an opportunity to grow, to learn, to expand. And here's something really important. When you live this way, you inspire others. You become a light in the darkness. People look at you and wonder how you stay so calm, so peaceful, so joyful in the midst of life's storms. And you can share with them what you've learned. You can tell them about the power of surrender. You can show them through your example that there's another way to live. This is how we change the world. Not through force or struggle, but through living examples of peace, trust, and faith. When enough people start living this way, the entire collective consciousness shifts. We create a tipping point where love becomes stronger than fear, where trust becomes stronger than worry, where faith becomes stronger than doubt. But it starts with you. It starts with your willingness to let go of your need to control. It starts with your decision to trust